Today's spiritual food for thought in 5 minutes or less is entitled Charge and Recharge. Personally, I've owned and used 3 different types of weed whackers in my time. I've had the cordless kind, which calls for a battery pack, the gas-powered type, and then the electric version, which has a cord that you have to plug into an outlet. I've learned the hard way that each type of weed eater comes with its own set of strengths and weaknesses. All said and done, my personal preference is the cordless electric version. However, its primary weakness is the fact that it inevitably runs out of power before the whole job is done. This then becomes a time to go get another battery, move to another job, or simply take a break. With a fully charged battery, you can set out to accomplish a whole week's worth of edging and trimming in one shot, but most likely that battery is going to run out well before you've even gotten half of your job done. At some point, you're going to have to recharge and then go back to the job to get it done and finished correctly. Even if you have multiple battery packs, at some point or another, they're all going to need recharged. Now, I guess in theory, you could go out with a weed whacker, which doesn't have any power at all, and try to trim things that way. You might actually be able to accomplish some results. Odds are, though, those results are going to be pretty messy, and your initial goal was to make your lawn neater, not messier. One day it hit me that all of this is much like our spiritual walk with our Creator, the one who created the heavens and the earth. With our personal actions as well as our corporate governments, it's no question that we as mankind have made a mess of things. And the minute we solve one problem, it seems like we create another. I'm thinking this is primarily because on both local and global scales, on both levels, we typically don't make decisions while being charged and led by the Holy Spirit of God. Nor do we regularly seek His divine counsel. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 read, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths." Later, in the book of John, we read where Yeshua said, "I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing." So name the problem in the world. Unless we, the created ones, are seeking Holy Spirit input and energy from our Creator, our resolve is always going to be short-sighted, short-lived, and ultimately a failure. Now let's say you did seek the Lord on a matter, something such as a conflict you were dealing with or a major life decision you had to make. From there, it is vitally important that you keep seeking the Lord on a regular basis and remain in Him so that He might remain in you. You need to live in such a way that you continually seek to be filled with the Holy Spirit of God. In other words, you need to keep getting recharged. A one-time filling is not going to get the job done. Just like charging a battery pack once will not last a lifetime. This is evident in the Apostle Paul's instruction in Ephesians, where he writes, "Do not be drunk on wine, which will ruin you, but be filled with the Spirit." Though it would sound a bit funny in English, the Greek word here, translated as "be filled," would more accurately be rendered as "be being kept filled." In other words, it's a continual process. A careful reading of the book of Acts will show you that the disciples were seeking more and more filling of the Holy Spirit well after the initial outpouring which occurred during the Feast of Pentecost. Again, we must abide in the Lord and get our ideas, our energy, desires, hope, and ultimately our lives from Him. There really is no other way. In closing, I leave you with this quote to chew on. If you believe you can coast into tomorrow with yesterday's filling of the Spirit, then there's a lesson you need to learn today. This has been D.L. Dunnaville with more spiritual food for thought in 5 minutes or less. Be blessed.